Welcome to TSP. I am Captain Paul, the half and half power hour, with my co-host, Dr. Evil Genius. Shout out to At TV. We're here, but no, what's going on there, Evil?
Oh wow! Wow!
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't like trigger the non-disparagement clause. We're not disparaging Act.tv. I love you guys over there.
No,
Thank you
no,
for the
no.
opportunity that you
No,
afforded us.
no,
Me, and when I say
I'm
us, I don't mean this white. Well, over here, this white mofo over here. I'm talking about Messiah Rhodes. Okay, so yeah. I don't want to be sued by Act.tv, but we need to
Listen,
talk
he
about
didn't say nothing. You can sue me. But anyways, let's
we need to talk about some other people on this platform with some legal issues.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because YouTubers that have been giving financial crypto advice covered by CoffeeZilla, like, and I have to hats off to CoffeeZilla. Like, he is the most entertaining yet informative YouTuber on the platform, in my opinion. Like, when you want to have a simplistic breakdown for an average Joe like myself to understand it, he really does make it simple and just easy to grasp. And he kind of covered YouTubers being sued for $1 billion, not a mil, a bill. Going into it, how do you think about that, Evil? Like, just
I don't agree with the lawsuits. I don't because content creators are going to content create.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I don't think that it would be fair if, for whatever reason, let's say Andrew Tate, let's just pick a name out of the hat, and he gives a suggestion to a guy. Do you think that he should be sued if somebody misconstrues what he says and then acts off of something that he said? Because then you can sue every politician. You can sue anybody who has ever shown up in public and had a microphone in front of them, and then have somebody make an action off of something that they said. I don't like it.
That's actually a really good point. If you really think about it, if we allow these type of lawsuits, like where's the limit, right? Like,
Right.
what is media? Is it so? Is everything you say in an interview, is that now tied legally, right?
Right.
I mean, obviously, there's misleading people intentionally. That's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I'd have to agree with you. So,
And the reason why I have to like kind of stick to my guns on this one, unless new information comes out, is because when YouTubers are presented with a deal to hawk a product or a service, most of the time the YouTubers aren't already wealthy. So this is money that has big numbers, and they say,
100%.
"Hey, can you just promote us on your channel? We'll pay you this amount, and the only thing you need 30 second, 60-second, 90-second clip inside your video, and then we'll give you this amount of money. Just say that our product is really good." And so I think that sometimes if you end up with the scammers that did the established title scam, right?
Yeah.
If you are still hawking established titles after they've already been outed as a scammer, perhaps you should be made liable because that information is viral. It's publicly available that it is a scam. So if you continue to push the scam after everybody knows it's a scam, perhaps you should have, some liability there. But the people who hawk these crypto things, they could not have known it was a scam. And to be honest with you, FTX wasn't a scam until SPF started stealing people's money. There was nothing wrong with the service until somebody in the back, which the YouTubers could not have known about.
Right.
Unless the YouTubers knew about it and they were getting paid off to stay quiet about it, they should have no legal liability. That's just my opinion.
No, I absolutely 100% agree with you. I think we're getting into very dangerous territory, even just affiliation, right? Like, if you just had worked with them in the past, now that you're guilty. And the one thing I don't like.
Oh, you're guilty. You used to be a mentor of Sneeko. So you're guilty by association. They should take our YouTube channel down too.
Oh shit, I'm canceled. Fuck. Gotta get it down. Grenade. I should have done that with my hip. That's kind of hard to get up. But no, like, all jokes aside, is that to me, we're getting into a very dangerous spot where if I've just worked with the brand before, Now because they come out to do some fuck shit, now I'm at fault. I don't really like that, and I'll follow up by saying this: like, we here at TSP, we will only really support products or promote products or maybe even I would even say like services that we do look into and at the time would say are viable options for our viewers. They're not going to be like shelling established titles and stuff of that ilk. And I do
Don't
think
even bother contacting us, Raid Shadow Legends. I know you just had your 4th birthday, and we here at TSP sincerely want to tell you we don't give a fuck.
No, we do not care. And maybe they don't even care about us, and that's fine. But I think
no. After the video you just put up and the numbers that video did, they'll be sending us an email before we know it.
Which was crazy, by the way. But I think when it kind of comes down to it, you just got to be responsible as a creator and look into it as best as possible. But I mean, you could do something with the service, like you said, FTX, when it was out there and it was an actual legitimate service. Like, you can't blame a content creator. But I don't want to keep rattling on and boring everybody. But let's get into the CoffeeZilla footage. There's a lot of interesting things here that I found. That dude looks
the influencers who promoted FTX are now being sued for over $1 billion in damages, and I want to talk about it. We're not only speaking to a lawyer, but even one of the people getting sued. Meet Kevin, Graham Stephan, Andre Jick, Minority Mindset, Brian Jung, Financial Education Jeremy, Tom Nash, and BitBoy Crypto are all defendants in this lawsuit. But before we get into it, I have to do something I never thought I would do on this channel.
Wait a minute, Cap. Don't every YouTuber that talks finance, don't they always say this is not financial advice?
Yep, that's for the reason they disclaim that. So
and when people talk about legal stuff and they're not a lawyer, don't they say, "I'm not a lawyer"?
Correct. 100%.
Okay, I just want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
I have to defend a certain person on that list, a guy I have been very critical of on this show. I'm talking about BitBoy Crypto. I know, I can't believe it either. What many people don't know is that he turned against them, and get this, months before the collapse, he started warning people about FTX.
We're going to be crossing out FTT and Solana. These are going to be going out of the portfolios. These coins are dead to me. Sam Bankman-Fried, you're dead to me. Brett Harrison, you are dead to me. FTX, you are dead to me. You are despicable, and I'm disgusted by you in every way, shape, or form. Everybody's going to be on that track.
Oh my God.
Now, that gave me chills. Dead ass.
Yeah.
I'm from New York, y'all. All right. We say words like dead ass. All right. Dead ass, yo. That gave me chills because that was September. And like I've already gone on record as saying, I know somebody personally that was destroyed by FTX. And we're talking about people who are very, very knowledgeable about all things crypto.
Yeah.
So for that guy to be saying that in September, it's like, what did you know, guy? What did you know?
Gosh, he said that way back in September. He said he's disgusted by Sam Bankman-Fried. This is BitBoy Crypto, guys. He's the Jim Cramer of crypto, and yet somehow he made one of the greatest blind call-outs of all time.
The vitriol that this man was talking, that wasn't blind. He knew something.
Yeah.
And it's so remarkable that I actually want to show you yet another clip of him doing this because I simply couldn't believe it when I saw it.
They're playing games with people's lives, and that's not right. Time to expose FTX and SBF what they really are.
What can I say? That video is a month before FTX collapsed. And to be clear, I am not claiming that BitBoy is some oracle. I think it was luck. But understand that he's one of the most widely ridiculed crypto influencers.
I don't think that's fair for him to say, Cap. I just don't think that's fair. How is that luck? This guy was very, very pointed in his condemnation of not only the platform, but the people that headed up the platform. And he said, what you were doing, he knew something. That wasn't blind. That wasn't luck. It seems like, to me, CoffeeZilla is a little bit too biased in that there are certain people he doesn't like and thinks are scammers.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a fair point.
He doesn't even want to give them the full credit that they deserve. He has to add a little bit of extra in there There's nothing luck about it. The guy, you already said you watched 2 different works before the fallout, and the dude is very specific. He's not just saying randomly, like he's been talking to some fucking, fucking Hindu god, and then you just downloaded the information that FTX was fucked up and didn't say what it was. Like, he was very specific about it long before everybody did the bank run on them. I just didn't think that was fair.
I mean, I would agree with you on that level. I think there is a little bit of bias there from Coffee, and I could understand because BitBoy was the guy that was sending out frivolous lawsuits against other people, and kind of just suing them for just even mentioning BitBoy in a video in a negative manner. So I'm not saying BitBoy here is all of a sudden like a great person. I'm not saying that, but let's also give into respect that he was right. And I don't know how he could have obtained information. Maybe, this is the one thing I'd have to say. Maybe it wasn't necessarily inside information, but maybe he had a lot of money in, try to pull it out, and they wouldn't let him or something.
Well, he did say he had $25K in there.
Yeah, so maybe there was some some issues, complications regarding withdrawing his own money, and that made his warning bells go up. So,
or he saw something going on with the token because he's so knowledgeable about Bitcoin and other crypto endeavors that he saw something in the patterns that indicated to him that some sort of fraud was going on.
Yeah. I mean,
everyone has dumped on this guy for years for bad calls. But here we are watching him get FTX, the biggest con, more correct than even the most beloved financial influencer.
Yeah, you don't do that by luck.
It doesn't make sense for him to be in this lawsuit. And besides, you're not supposed to sue BitBoy Crypto anyways. He sues you when you make fun of him. All right, sorry. I'm trying to defend him here, but I'm not used to this strange turn of events where the villain has become the hero. But either way, with that out of the way, I want to talk about the rest of this lawsuit. Basically, the rest of these influencers are accused of promoting FTX and getting paid for it. It also accuses them of not conducting adequate, if any, due diligence. Allegedly, these influencers played a major role in the FTX disaster, who hyped the deceptive FTX platform.
Whoever filed this, get a new lawyer. Find another way to get rich. They did not play a major role in the FTX disaster.
No.
They did not give any of the money to Alameda Research.
Nope.
Because that's what fucked up the company. The company was legitimate up until Sam Bankman started sending customer funds to Alameda Research. And until you can actually show that any of these YouTubers took the crypto and then passed it over to Alameda and the chick with the wire rim glasses that they were passing around the house.
Yep.
For undisclosed payments. Now, look, none of this is really surprising. We talked about this back in November, and it all feels inevitable. The whole reason FTX was so popular is because of the amount of money they dumped into these advertising campaigns. Everyone I know was offered one of these deals. Either way.
So wait, are you going to blame the New York Mets? Are you going to blame the Miami Heat because they had they renamed their arena the FTX something?
Yeah, the FT. Yeah, like listen, this
they're
is
forced
such
to leave it up there too because because
they
of the terms of the deal. Like it still says the FTX arena on it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna blame everybody because everybody should be sued now.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it kind of comes down to it, fans are getting scanned for the prices of basketball tickets as it is. So maybe it's fitting, but I think personally, you can't. Unless they had insider information, work for the company directly, and maybe they can prove it. I don't know how. This is just a baseless lawsuit.
That's what it looks like to me.
It's pretty logical to see that without people willing to take the money and sell FTX, it just couldn't have hurt as many people. And already we saw a similar class action lawsuit come out against arguably the biggest promoters, Tom Brady, Larry David, Kevin O'Leary, and
so, I mean, isn't this like what I'm talking about, Cap?
Yeah. It's just dumb. Keep playing it, but these lawsuits
this just
are dumb.
Seems like the next logical step targeted at smaller promoters, albeit financial education influencers in particular. So although these guys don't have as anything close to Tom Brady's popularity, the argument here is different. It's that people look to people like Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin in a different way than they looked at Tom Brady. If Tom Brady promotes some penny stock, you'll think nothing of it. But Meet Kevin, Graham Stephan, Andre Jick, Financial Jeremy, all they do is do finance all day long. They even have a podcast they called Millennial Money, which was sponsored by, you guessed it, FTX US, and is now deleted. And the point is, they position.
Again, I am forced to remind you people, FTX US was not involved in the theft. FTX.US was 100% legit.
I'll say this. I will say this, though.
It was FTX International that was involved in the fraud.
Sam Bankman-Fried made people like me that don't really even believe in crypto, right? Don't believe in having investments into it for a lot of reasons. I don't feel it's as secure. And we can go into the whole money and water of that later, right? But it makes people like me be like, definitely not investing in crypto. I'm not doing it. Like, because it's like, I'd rather invest in precious metals, gold, silver, like I have, and other things. It's just, I feel like those are actual tangible assets. And then it's like with this crypto stuff where I feel like there is actual, in a perfect world, you could get some tangible value out of it. And I think it should be secure. But because power corrupts people, they do really shady shit. And crypto to me is the new Ponzi scheme. It really.
Well, let me ask you this question. There was a court case. I think it was decided upon by the Supreme Court. SCOTUS. And a man was suing for the amount of money that he had, and he wanted the U.S. government or the U.S. Mint or whoever he was going to go to.
Right.
He was suing them for that amount of gold because the legally the U.S. legal tender, the U.S. dollar is supposed to be backed by gold. So the guy wants gold in response to that. And the government, including SCOTUS, said, in no uncertain terms, in legalese, go fuck yourself. So even when you go out there and you get your paycheck and you get this money that is supposed to be backed by gold, they're telling you no, it's not actually backed by gold. So I got to ask you this: if you say that you're going to, go into the precious metals,
right,
and you're going to say, I want to invest in gold, silver, bronze, cubic zirconia.
Yeah.
They'll tell you that you have this much there, but can you really expect to go to some place and say, here, I have these numbers on the screen, give me my gold, and then expect to get it?
So I did that with silver, right? Because I have assets, like I have multiple different assets, to be fair here. So I actually did buy silver. Shit, what was I, 20 years old? I bought like $5,000 worth of silver, and I sold it a few years ago for about, I think, what did I get back?
Because you betrayed Indian Jesus to give you 5,000 silver pieces.
Yo, shout out to Lutch. I made like either 1,000 or 1,500. I'd have to look at the receipts, so I apologize because it's off the top of my head. But I actually ended up getting more money back, and like I personally, it's kind of been, it's a decent investment if you can see where the world's going and like where certain microchips are using for certain materials and stuff of that ilk. But I do understand where you're coming from, because if the government wants to, they can be just like, suck a dick. And like not give you the money that's owed, because you are right, it is supposed to be backed by gold currency. And we'd have to we should do a video on that case. Actually, that'd be a really
because China just found $3 billion of gold ore in
really?
one of their I think Shandong provinces or something like that. They just found $3 billion worth of gold deposits. I think that's pretty interesting. But that's for another video. Let's get into it.
Themselves as experts, and I think that's the real juice of this lawsuit, in contrast to say like the Tom Brady lawsuit.
I do want to be really clear. When they call them experts, they're not experts on the inner workings of these individual companies. They just know the the greater points of what finance is like. It's like, if somebody took some accounting classes, they understand like how to balance a book or most of the tax code. Can they tell you that you're going to be audited or something like that? Probably not. And that should be something that we need to kind of differentiate. An expert in the field is not an expert in any individual company.
It's like if someone tried to sell you a pill that was going to help you lose weight, and the two people promoting it is Jack Black and Dr. Oz. Okay, let's say you take the pill and develop uncontrollable vomiting. Who would you actually be mad at? You could say, well, Jack Black's more of a star. But ultimately, obviously, the answer would be Dr. Oz because he's expected to know better. And
you answer that question, Cap. You answer that question.
I mean, so if Dr. Oz is the doctor giving it to you, a legitimate doctor, or is it the Dr. Oz personality?
Well,
because
he's not a legitimate doctor, so
that's actually where I was just gonna go. Like, if it's the personality? It's my fault personally. This is just me. It's my fault for not looking into it, right, and not just taking someone's word for it. Because I think that's the one thing I have in society where we just don't want to be culpable of our own actions in life. Where it's like, oh, it's everyone else's fault. I'm like, I mean, maybe some shit sounds too good to be true. Listen, if there was a pill that made you lose weight, I'd be the first one on board. Not gonna lie, but secondly, it's just, let's just call it what it is, man. You have to do your own research, and I hate saying that phrase so many ways, but you have to do your own research, but go to medical professionals. And if a pill is adverse and it's FDA approved, you go after that company. And actually, technically, if it's FDA approved, you can go after the FDA because they approved a drug that is legitimately not safe. And then you actually have a case there.
But you already know that the government is not going to
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, like, if we're speaking in a perfect black and white world here, that's what would happen because they're the regulators of safe drugs. But we've seen in the happen, they approve shit that gives people severe side effects and even death, and they don't get shit thrown their way. But that's a whole different conversation.
Exactly.
To do due diligence. And the reasonable assumption is that Jack Black couldn't look into it even if he tried because he's not an expert. And so I think that component probably will make a massive difference.
Dr. Oz is
I'm certainly not saying everyone who promoted FTX
so he couldn't look into it.
Didn't know anything about finance should
even
be
if
let
he
off
was a real doctor.
I think it's a huge problem either way.
That's actually a good point.
That non-experts can shill financial products. I'm just saying it's worse if they are experts. But to make my position even more explicit, I don't think influencers of any kind should be allowed to promote these investment products. I think there's a huge downside to it and very little upside. I think you oftentimes end up hurting people because it's impossible to give broad financial advice in a responsible manner to a massive audience you don't know. But on that note, you might say, well, hang on a minute, Steven. I'm with you on not selling financial products, but they weren't selling that. They were selling FTX, right? Or FTX US. And this is where things get a little tricky because
there is a difference between FTX
the fact that FTX US
FTX
was
US.
a platform. But on that platform, they were also selling financial products. You see, you could buy what was called a yield-bearing account, or you could put your money in it. It's where they offered you 8% a year. And this wasn't just FTX. This was FTX US. And that's a problem because, well, this type of account is probably an unregistered security. To avoid going into too many details, let's just say several different accounts like this have been targeted by the SEC as being unregistered securities, and the FTX earn accounts would be no different. So this is where the lawsuit gets its claim that these influencers may not have just been promoting a scam. They may have been promoting an unregistered security.
It looks a lot like a savings
account.
To
be fair to these influencers,
with
these
a high
earn
yield.
accounts were in a strange gray area. According to the website, the FTX app earn is available only in permitted jurisdictions, which would appear to mean that the United States of America was not allowed to have these accounts. But in typical Sam Bankman-Fried fashion, what they said on their website wasn't actually true. You see, these accounts were actually available to U.S. investors, as seen on a screenshot from their own app. Quote, FTX earn rewards are available for U.S. users on a promotional basis. And admittingly, this was confusing to a lot of people.
None.
A Redditor said, FTX earn for U.S. customers is incredible, but very poorly marketed. and then complains that it almost feels intentionally hidden, which should have been a red flag. And maybe it was, but it was there.
Yeah.
And like it or not, if American investors put money into this account.
But of course it's hidden, right? Like,
they don't
it's
want
not
that.
legal in the United States, and they're not servicing people in the United States. And I mean, where do most people know of FTX? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people in other countries, but most people would be like in the United States. Then why would they advertise something that the people in their home country, because let's be clear, Sam Bankman-Fried was not born in the Bahamas, folks.
No.
Like, I don't get it.
Well, they do it down there, right? In these areas because there's less regulation,
Right,
there's less
right.
laws regarding it. That's why they do that.
Right.
We could earn 8% a year because of one of these influencers. They may have sold an unregistered security, which would be bad, not just for the person who put their money there, but also bad for the influencer. I mean, look, it's all bad. It's just legal jujitsu to kind of get to the obvious. Ultimately, this story is about people getting hurt, promoters getting paid, and now they're getting sued for it, to which I say, good. Although, not...
Now, CoffeeZilla is supposed to be this guy that we respect, right? Because I know you respect the hell out of him.
I respect him.
I didn't really get too much into him until I found out about him through you, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Why would somebody like him, who claims to be upstanding, he's anti-scammer and all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would he want influencers to get sued in baseless lawsuits that they cannot win? Because you know who pays for lawsuits that don't get won? The plaintiff.
Yeah. I think when it kind of comes down to it, he's very anti-scam because he's exposed a lot of people in positions of power, right? Or positions of popularity that are abusing their fans or abusing the trust of their fans to profit off of and make a quick buck and have their fans lose hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, we just saw that with the Logan Paul situation, right? I would agree with you on this aspect. I'm not all for the baseless lawsuits and like saying that's good. Yeah, there should be repercussions for people purposely scamming their fans. Yeah, and there should be maybe more of a, I don't know what you could do, maybe write some certain laws or something in that nature. But let's both be clear here. Just because something is a law doesn't mean necessarily it's a good thing, because that can be completely twisted and abused, right? But I mean, there should be certain, how would I say this, certain safety nets in place where fans can't get scammed. But I'm with you on that. I think more baseless lawsuits is not a good thing. That's actually a bad thing, because now instead of everyone's just looking for a quick check,
Right.
And then at the end of the day, like if you're gonna send a baseless lawsuit, understand if you do not win, you're paying a fuck ton of money.
Everyone believes this particular legal strategy is going to hold water. I asked Legal Eagle, a well-known lawyer on YouTube, what he thought, and he was doubtful about its chances.
And basically, the entire case rests on a part of the Florida law that the plaintiff's claim connects the endorsers to FTX. I'm very skeptical of this. The section in question extends liability to any director, officer, partner, or agent for the seller if they personally participated or aided in the making of a sale. And if you're on YouTube or if you're a celebrity endorser, you're not a director of the company, you're not an officer, you're not a partner, and you're not an agent. You're not able to act on behalf of the company. You're just basically contracted to make a statement. For most of them, it relies on a bare allegation that they were, quote, paid to endorse FTX. And then there is a subsequent allegation where it's so wishy-washy. It says, quote, it is hard to imagine that anyone who has done business with FTX, including paid endorsers, would not have personally witnessed one or more of the deficiencies identified by Mr. Ray. He's the guy who's in charge of the receivership of FTX in bankruptcy. And all FTX endorsers have extensive business dealings beyond FTX and surely would be able to identify business practices that are unusually problematic. Now, as a legal matter, I don't think that really changes anything. As a factual matter, it's just completely false that a celebrity endorser or a YouTuber would have any insight into the inner workings of FTX that the public does not have. That's just not the way it works. Though at the same time, I wouldn't want to be these YouTubers either, who are going to have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to their lawyers to defend against what is quite possibly a meritless lawsuit. I don't expect this particular lawsuit to go anywhere, but I think it is going to be a pain in the sides of many of these YouTubers.
Wow.
Now, I don't want to play this guy's whole video, so definitely watch the rest of the video that is going to be linked down. in the description below. I think that the gentleman, I think Legal Eagle is his channel. So we might throw a link to his channel in the description as well. I think that he has it exactly right, except for one thing. A lot of times when a plaintiff loses a lawsuit, there's a lot of times there's a countersuit, and the countersuit a lot of times sues for the legal costs of the defendants for bringing a lawsuit that failed. So there is a chance that, yes, this will be a thorn in the side of many of these YouTubers. However, it could be the plaintiffs that might get hurt a second time because they're basically lashing out at anybody that they can to recover some of their funds for, their lost life savings. And it probably could possibly be that they're going to then get hit with the insult to more injury, to more insult to more injury, because they brought a lawsuit against people that really were not at fault for this. They didn't steal any of the money. They didn't know that the company was stealing money and then continue to endorse their product and or service.
So legitimate question here then. Who is more at fault here then? Is it the plaintiff's lawyers or the plaintiff itself? Because if I'm a lawyer, right, and I'm looking at this, morally, I just wouldn't take the case. I'd be like, listen, like, this is going to be very hard to prove, very hard to go against. You're trying to prove individuals that aren't really affiliated with this company to say that they had insider knowledge that it was going to collapse or that it was all a scam, right? So who's more to blame? Honest question.
Well, short answer would be SBF. The long answer would be Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yep.
Because he stole the money.
You're right. I mean, but I'm just saying it, looking at it from a lawyer standpoint, somebody that is knowledgeable and kind of understands the potential of winning these cases. I mean, I don't know. That's just very, very hard to get. And I understand everyone has the right to sue if they want to. But yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried, which is he still on house arrest or is he actually arrested? Yeah, he's still on house arrest. So he's playing League of Legends, just chilling while people are losing.
I'm not sure he's allowed to do that anymore, though. I'm not sure he's allowed to do that anymore.
No?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because I think they were claiming that through his League of Legends account, he was still like going into chats with people that worked at FTX and was talking to them. And, they were worried about witness tampering and all those things. So, it's definitely a possibility. If I'm not mistaken, they were like, nope. In fact, something I saw, they don't want him to be able to use a smartphone anymore because he was using Signal, which is an encrypted messaging app. And they somehow caught him doing that. So,
I mean, it's a very difficult conversation to have because I understand why someone would be so emotional, probably losing like hundreds of thousands of dollars. As you said, you knew someone personally that got affected by a lot of this.
I'm talking to the tune of at least 9 figures.
9 figures. So I definitely can feel sympathy in that regard. But for me, you got to make sure these lawsuits will actually make sense. If they were going after FTX directly and those affiliated, cool. Like, sue them until they can't be sued no more. But at the same time, trying to sue influencers or content creators that are literally say in their videos, this is not financial advice. It's just baseless in its nature, and it's just a massive waste of time. Like, you're wasting thousands upon thousands of dollars to a lawsuit that's most likely going to be getting thrown out anyways.
And you know who wins? The lawyers.
The lawyers. That's where I was going.
They're going to get paid anyway.
Regardless. Yep.
They don't care who pays them. They just want to make sure they get paid.
And lawyers are expensive. As someone that has dealt with lawyers, they are expensive. It is not cheap. So I think like the one guy I used, it was like $600 an hour. And
just to get his opinion on his favorite Quiznos sub.
And you know what the funniest part is, man? I did a lot of the research myself with my particular case. And I was like, here's all the information, so you don't waste your time. No, I'm serious. I got darn it. And he's like, oh wow, you're one of the most well put together guys. And I told him, and he laughed. I said, I'm not looking for you to waste an hour of my money looking for information where it's prevalent right here. So he's like, obviously,
I need you to take this folder and walk into the courtroom with it right now.
Right now. So But yeah, this was a good video. I think it's complicated because I can understand the human element of people losing a lot of money in this. But let's also keep our rational and logical brain here. This lawsuit's just kind of silly.
And the thing is, I want to make it clear, like we love and support what CoffeeZilla does. I just wanted to point out some of the more obvious biases because, again, in this age where we want to undress every single content creator for anything that we perceive to be wrong or inappropriate, we must understand that all of these guys are human beings. And even the guys that we uphold as some of our superheroes that are against all the frauds and all the mess ups and things of that nature, the fact remains that they're just human beings here and they have their biases.
Absolutely.
But we want to know. We want to know from you guys what your opinion is on these lawsuits for these YouTubers. Are you happy that they are being sued? Do you think that it makes sense for why they are suing? We want to know from you down below. Also, in the description of this video, we want you to go support CoffeeZilla.
100%.
Watch the entire video that we kind of did a mock-up on, a review of. For the first half of the video. Go watch the second half of the video. It is very, very informative.
Yeah.
All right?
Absolutely.
Well, this is the home of the cold truth.
And the hot take.
So subscribe for more. Let us know in the comments section what your thoughts are. To help us with the algorithm, like, share, subscribe. We have the Patreon, all of that stuff, all the details are down in the description below. Thank you very much for watching.